Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news. This is the business of sports.
Sports are the greatest unscripted show on earth.
The next generation of players really grew up with tech and believe in tech.
Your face is your ticket. Your face is your wallet. Your face is your access to a club.
These are such iconic and important buildings for businesses, for fans.
COVID was one of the best things that ever happened to golf.
The NFL is a bulletproof business.
Racing's unique because there is absolutely no reason why we can't compete with the guys.
Come on, is pro pickleball real? Are people really going to tune into this?
If you're playing Moneyball with a huge bag of money, you're going to be really, really good.
Bloomberg Business of Sports from Bloomberg Radio.
This is the Bloomberg Business of Sports, where we explore the big money issues in the world of sports. I'm Michael Barr, along with my colleague Damian Sassower. And we'll hear from Vanessa Perdomo later on in the show. Coming up, we hear from Ice Cube. His Big 3 basketball league just started its season and has a full slate of games this weekend. We'll talk to him about how his league is growing and becoming real competition for the NBA.
You know, after the NBA Finals, they're really waiting for the NFL to start. So there's a lot of fans out there just, you know, waiting to be entertained, and we think we got it with the Big 3.
We'll also hear from Fabien Allegre. He's Chief Brand Officer for Paris Saint-Germain Football Club as the FIFA Club World Cup rolls on. All that is on the way on the Bloomberg Business of Sports. But first, big news this week. The Los Angeles Lakers will have a new owner, the Buss family, who've owned the Lakers since 1979 when patriarch Jerry Buss bought the team. It was a struggling franchise for $67.5 million. Now, the team is being sold at a record $10 billion valuation to Guggenheim Partners CEO Mark Walter. That's on top of being the lead owner of the LA Dodgers. Here to break down what we know for sure about another record-breaking franchise deal is Bloomberg Global Sports business reporter Ira Boudway. Ira, welcome to the Bloomberg Business of Sports.
Thanks for having me on.
Man, oh man, I tell you what, news just breaks left and right. I'm surprised. I mean, yes, okay, in case you didn't hear it, by the way, billionaire, yes, he's loaded, Mark Walter. He bought, actually, I should add this, the controlling stake in the team that is coming up from the Buss family. And I understand that Jeannie Buss is still going to operate the team.
Yeah, she will for a number of years, I think was the quote in the original ESPN report, remain as the governor and then eventually transition out of that role, which means she's keeping, you know, at least 15% of the team for now. And we've seen deals like this lately in the NBA where the governor wants to stick around a little bit longer, but is ready to sell majority stake in the team. So it's an interesting one. But yeah, I mean, this is a end of an era. The Buss family, longest tenured ownership in the NBA. And, you know, bought this team in 1979 and for a lot less than what Walter is paying.
I saw the crawl, we were talking about this, come across the TV. And at the time, we had company at the time. And I thought I saw it wrong. I'm like, no, that can't be. It's your turn, John. You go roll the dice. That's basically what happened. But yeah, I mean, this is amazing. And my goodness, the valuations keep going up. This is for a record $10 billion.
Right, and this is on the heels of that Celtics deal at $6.1 billion, which was then the record, and they're falling fast. I mean, 10 is a lot more than 6.1, and it's not been that long. So I think it's pretty surprising. I mean, the Lakers are on a very short list of premier franchises, not just, you know, in a premier league, in a top sports league, but also one of the top teams, one of the top global brands. And, you know, they just a lot about them that makes them attractive. But also I think Walter just has a record of being willing to go big, and he's already in the market, right? They set a record for a franchise when that group bought the Dodgers in 2012 for $2.1 billion. And that seems to have worked out pretty well for them so far. And now with this, there's some interesting possibilities what they can do in market, sort of combining the Lakers and Dodgers potentially as a media property and so on. So, you know, I think they know what they're doing, but I also think like these numbers are beyond maybe what you could look at the balance sheet and justify. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those stories where, well, how high can the pot run? I mean, we're going to keep going and going. I mean, what's going to happen?
Yeah, and I think partly what we're seeing is a split now between sports properties that are like A plus, like the Lakers, and maybe if you're a small market baseball team, we maybe have hit the peak and we've hit the roof, right? I think you're seeing in that market the Twins, the Rays, other teams like having a little trouble fetching the price that they originally wanted. So I think there, on the one hand, you could say bubble bursting. On the other hand, you can look at these numbers and say we can go on forever into the stratosphere at this rate. It's very interesting, and Walter, in that group, they have, like we said, Dodgers, they already had a piece of the Lakers. Now they're becoming majority owners. They are have stakes in Chelsea in the Premier League. They have some Formula One, Professional Women's Hockey League, Sparks. Like, they are building a very big platform, or as they call them now, of sporting properties. And I think that's another thing that we're seeing is when you can combine these things, maybe they're worth more than as standalone properties.
Our thanks to Bloomberg Global sports business reporter Ira Boudway for joining us. From record-setting sports franchise deals to the golf course, Arcus Golf recently made a few deals of their own, acquiring 3 Atlanta area golf courses. Here to talk to us about the deals and the growth of golf is Blake Walker. He's chairman, CEO, and founder of Arcus Golf. Blake, welcome to the Bloomberg Business of Sports.
Michael, thank you. I'm a big fan of the show. Happy to be here.
Oh, you've been too kind to us. Arcus Golf reaches $2 billion value. You bought 3 Atlanta courses, but you guys have a lot of history about Arcus Golf. Can you take us through it, sir?
Sure. I began my career back in the early 90s, really making investments in leisure and sports, and really began to develop a niche in hospitality, specifically golf resorts. And Arcus was something I was sitting as a chief investment officer of a large platform. We were about to go public, and I looked at the market. This would have been like 2012, 2013, and there was about $3.5 billion worth of distressed debt coming due, sort of post Lehman. And I thought, wow, this would be a phenomenal opportunity to build a platform within golf, because one of the things I've thought about was that golf was really dependent upon aging baby boomers. And I thought, what's going to happen when they age out? Golf's got to get younger, it's got to get more diverse, and it's got to get decidedly more female. So went home, told my wife I had this idea and that I wanted to quit my day job and, eviscerate all my equity there and not take a salary for a couple of years. And thankfully, or surprisingly, she said yes. So that was when sort of the odyssey began with Arcus in 2014. And as you mentioned, we most recently acquired 3 private clubs in Atlanta. A couple of weeks before, we acquired the Woodlands in Houston, and that was on the heels of Champions Retreat, where we co-host the Augusta National Women's Amateur and Greyhawk in Scottsdale and a variety of others.
So, Blake, I wonder if you could just tell our audience a little bit about the business model you employ at Arcus in terms of, buying these courses, upgrading them, renovating them. I mean, I'm looking at some pictures here of Fox Meadow and Weymouth Country Club and some of the renovations and the transformations of these 2 clubs. It's just astounding. Take us through that.
Damian, it's interesting. We've done this a while, and we have a preconceived idea from an investment perspective and reinvestment specifically. But we do a series of focus groups with members prior to finally investing, and it's really a family centric thesis, and it's really built upon our 4 pillars, which are health and wellness, experiential dining, lifetime sports, and arts entertainment. And we really use that as a day part strategy, much like you would in media, for every member of the family, by member, by day. So that CapEx is very intentional, and it's really a lot of lifestyle amenities in addition to golf.
Man, if I told my wife that I wasn't going to have a salary for a couple of years, man, she'd tell me to go get that greeting job at Walmart that I've always dreamed about. You have a very understanding wife and made your dream come true, sir.
Well, Michael, there were days I thought I might have that greeter job. So I absolutely understand what you're talking about. it could have clearly been a very public failure. But I'm a lucky guy. I've got an incredibly supportive spouse, and I've got a great team. Quite frankly, I mean, really, the journey here has been. A lot of people want to talk about our inorganic growth, but our organic growth has been special, and it's really been the direct result of the talented people we have on this team.
So Blake, take us through. I mean, the company's been around for nearly 11 years. I mean, it commands a $2 billion valuation. I mean, who are your partners? You know, I've seen some of these. I've seen iFit. You know, you've done some things there. You know, some AI coach, I believe, that you guys are testing out. I mean, talk to us about, you know, who the logical partners are that can not only help your company but help it grow.
Well, it really goes back to that four pillars thesis. I mean, I think as you look at our growth on a go forward basis, I mean, we're partnering with people that are best in class from a course design perspective. Jumping on a plane here in about an hour to work on a project. We've got the 3 or 4. We have an in-house construction team. We work with the best designers on the planet. From a health and wellness perspective, we're beta testing with a couple of leaders in the health and wellness space and a couple of hub markets currently. We're in the process of the final design stages of a social house we're going to build in Scottsdale that will be have a green grass location. So again, you know, think about younger, female, more diverse audience and what those wants, needs, desires are in terms of on a daily basis, right? I mean, it's where they're gonna dine, it's where they're gonna work out, it's where they're gonna socially they're going to spend time in the social house. It's very similar to if you were bundling it in the media business.
Well, you also have a very diverse portfolio, right? This isn't just private clubs we're talking about. There's public courses, there's municipal courses. Take us through your portfolio. I mean, take us through those different business models and how you view them. I mean, are they individually looked at separately as a part of, just building better diversification into your portfolio, for example? I mean, talk to us about, the narrative for investing across all 3 verticals.
You know, that, again, very intentional and to grow the game, as you look at those aging baby boomers and who the next wave of consumers is going to be within golf, it had to make it more approachable and more affordable. So for us, it was key that about 50% of our portfolio be daily fee. And so that 50% is driven by our subscription offering. So if you look at markets like Scottsdale, where we're building the social house, we've got over 10,000 subscribers in that market. And we also have, several private clubs everywhere from entry level to $100,000 initiation fees. And really, we're trying to create an ecosystem where the consumer can be vertically integrated as they grow in their career. But again, the mental model is that 4 pillars thesis. Really, the only difference is that breadth and scope of what we offer at a daily fee versus a private.
Our thanks to Blake Walker for joining us. He's chairman, CEO, and founder of Arcus Golf. Up next, we turn to soccer and the FIFA Club World Cup with chief brand strategist of Paris Saint-Germain Football Club, Fabien Allegre. For Damian Sassower, I'm Michael Barr. You're listening to the Bloomberg Business of Sports from Bloomberg Radio around the world.
This is Bloomberg Business of Sports from Bloomberg Radio.
This is the Bloomberg Business of Sports, where we explore the big money issues in the world of sports. I'm Michael Barr. With the FIFA Club World Cup underway, Vanessa Perdomo got a chance to sit down with one of the folks behind the scenes at one of the teams participating. Fabien Allegre is Chief Brand Officer at Paris Saint-Germain Football Club. Let's take a listen to their conversation, part of an ongoing series focusing on the business of soccer.
Well, this first edition of the Club World Cup is super exciting for Paris Saint-Germain. Maybe, as you know, we already get a strong and a growing US footprint with our 80 official fans club, the 3 stores that we have in New York, Miami, and Las Vegas, the academies as well, and our US dedicated e-commerce platform. So for us, it's a way not to, we're not visiting in a way, we're moving in. And the concept that we have for PSG House in Los Angeles will be a unique and immersive hub on Melrose Avenue, blending football, fashion, art, and lifestyle experiences. I mean, the DNA of the club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love the way you put it there. you're not visiting, you're moving in and expanding, right? Your footprint that you already have here. And you guys are in, Group B, along with, one of the only MLS teams competing here, and going to be competing with them in their home stadium, on their home pitch.
Seattle.
Tell me how, is that exciting, or does that pose another challenge, or does that just give you more of a footprint to grow in the U.S. playing against a U.S. team?
Well, the way the Club World Cup is organized is really interesting, because that will allow us to get in different cities. I mean, obviously for the group stage we will be in LA, but also in Seattle, and for us that's also a way to go and meet our community and fans, and once again try to expand our footprint in the different key cities.
So tell me a little bit more about the LA house that you were saying. I mean, you have the stores already here, and like you said, LA, New York. So tell me how this is going to be.
Not in LA.
Not in LA yet. Okay.
Yes.
So how is this going to be different?
The concept of it was really to bring the best of what we are, and a little bit about the positioning of Paris Saint-Germain, which is so unique in the football world. We were maybe the first club to move into this what we define culture, and create the bridge for the young generation of fans around sport, music, art, fashion. And the concept is really to bring the best of what we are doing, to highlight maybe some new and high-level collaboration that we're going to launch, especially in Los Angeles. Yeah, it's the concept is really to create a space where the community, the local heroes, all the meeting that we can organize from a business perspective, but also to connect with our local fans, is like a welcome there to the PSG house for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. And you said it there that art, culture, music, these are the things that you intersect. And obviously every team that's coming over from internationally is going to want to connect with U.S. fans, but how you're doing that differently and capturing, the U.S. audience. Is that exactly what you're leaning into? The culture of it is different for you guys, do you think?
I think that the main difference between us and the other, and with a lot of respect, we've been so in advance on this one, because that was a part of the project in 2011 when the chairman took over the club, to make this a successful brand on the pitch, but also asking to build this global and lifestyle brand. And at the time, in 2011, the club were not open to this aspect of creating the bridge. So I'm not saying that what the other club are doing is nothing, but we always try to be the first. And I think that the consistency and the credibility that we get since 2011 is unique. So that's maybe without any kind of arrogance, that we always think differently, and the positioning of the club being the club of the new generation is super important and drives all the kind of initiative that we're doing.
I love that, the club of the new generation. And the interesting thing here too, and one of the things that we're really diving in on is unlocking this market in the US and in a way that hasn't really been done before in soccer, really even here. So do you think the importance of being here and doing all these things to unlock the U.S. fan base is because you think it's the next generation of fans or the next way to unlock a new business for you guys?
Yes, of course it is. And we already know that maybe soccer, what we call football, but soccer ranks fifth in popularity in the U.S., behind American football, basketball, baseball, and MMA. So we have a lot of works to do to increase the popularity of the sport. And we believe that when it comes to this young, new generation of fan, whatever sport we're talking about, is really to go into their ecosystem in a way and create those bridge, because they are not only fan of basketball, they are fan of basketball, of football, of music, of fashion. So we need to really reinforce this strength of the club, which is once again unique for me.
And how big, do you think this is in terms of from a business perspective, if you do, break out and get this new market really signed on to soccer, to PSG, how big can it be for you guys from a business perspective, from a growth perspective?
It's hard to give you some numbers, but the fact that we will be in town for 2 weeks and that's just once again the beginning. We started like earlier, maybe on a small scale, but the fact that we will show during these 2 weeks and not only in LA, we will be a part of the Fanatic Festival in New York. We're going to make some really big announcements when it comes to cross collaboration with American brand and Paris Saint-Germain. So hard to give you numbers, but what I really want to say is like the US market is a key market for the next couple of years for Paris Saint-Germain.
And you obviously talked about the LA house and having that in LA for 2 weeks, but across the US, you said 18 fan clubs, I think you said. How
yes,
are you planning
correct.
on working with them specifically while you guys are here?
Yes, of course, and we're going to do the same thing with the 7 academy that we have all around the US. We're going to organize some viewing party for the game because, of course, not all of them can fly to LA, but at least we'll have different kind of events dedicated to the fact that Paris Saint-Germain is in the US.
And after, the Club World Cup is over, how do you plan on keeping the footprint here and keeping the excitement about the club?
That will be like on different side. I think that we have a strong, when it comes to the community, give back to the community. We have a big plan, just not to be there and go back to Paris and forget about the community who needs some help. So we have a big project on this part. And then it will be more around the connection that we'll have locally, and not only on men's football, but also women's football. That we have a women's team as well. We have some American player. So it's more we're going to use to create this relationship and network. So that will go along all the announcements we're going to do over the 10 days.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you brought up the women's side there, because just because this is the Men's Club World Cup and next year we're hosting the Men's World Cup doesn't mean that it also can't benefit, the women's side. So one of your plans is to then introduce your women's team over here. Are you planning on having them come play or anything like that? Or how do you envision that?
That's what we're trying to achieve, but the calendar of the women's competition is also complicated, and we cannot have the full team because they are all in their own national team. But we already get some contact with some other women's team, and we will go from there, just to highlight the fact that maybe 1 + 1 = 3, even if we are not competing in the same area, we can together join our strength, and highlight this football as well, women's football as well.
That's PSG's Chief Brand Officer Fabian Allegre speaking with our own Vanessa Perdomo. It's part of an ongoing series where Vanessa speaks to some of the key decision makers and players in the world of soccer as we get closer to the FIFA World Cup coming to the U.S. Up next, we turn to basketball and talk with none other than Ice Cube about the new Big 3 season.
You know, these guys have played for championships, so, it's pretty cool to see them still with the hunger and the fire. And it's what people want to see. You know, people want to see real passion on the court, not, guys, worrying about, managing minutes and all this kind of crazy stuff that's happening in the NBA.
I'm Michael Barr. You're listening to the Bloomberg Business of Sports from Bloomberg Radio around the world.
This is Bloomberg Business of Sports from Bloomberg Radio.
Thanks for joining us on the Bloomberg Business of Sports, where we explore the big money issues in the world of sports. I'm Michael Barr, along with my colleague Damian, Sassower, and Vanessa Perdomo. Joining us now is none other than Ice Cube. He's a movie star, a hip-hop legend, and he's CEO and co-founder of the Big 3, and its new season is just getting underway. Ice Cube, welcome to the Bloomberg Business of Sports.
Yay. Thanks for having me.
Man, you're an old friend of the show. We've talked with you before, and I'm so proud that you started the Big 3, and it's still going strong, and the new season has started. Tell us about it.
Oh, man, it's started off with a bang.
Yeah.
In Chicago last week, we had two of our rookies get into it.
Yes.
And when I say rookies, I'm talking about Dwight Howard and Lance Stevenson.
Dude, they got ejected, right? I mean, and then you had Steven Jackson and Jalen Johnson. I mean, what's going on? I mean, there's a lot of bad blood.
Yeah, these guys want to win. It's passion. When I talk about the Big 3, I want you to bring your game, not your name. So guys are coming to win. And, you can see we allow players to be themselves now. We don't condone no fighting and touching each other. We let them trash talk. We let personalities, free. You don't have to be a robot and play in the Big 3. But yeah, we have to talk to our rookies and let them know. We don't want you tumbling into the stands. Let's keep it on the court and have fun.
What's the saying, man? You can take the athlete out of the game, but you can't take the game out of the athlete, man.
For real, these guys have played for championships. So, it's pretty cool to see them still with the hunger and the fire. And it's what people want to see. People want to see real passion on the court, not, guys, worrying about, managing minutes and all this kind of crazy stuff that's happening in the NBA.
Ice Cube, I want to ask that this year is big for the Big 3 for so many reasons, but you're introducing a city-based model for this year. Why did you choose to introduce that, and why pick these specific cities?
Well, every team, all the teams were centrally owned by the league, and we had 12 teams, which is a handful. And knowing that we want to expand one day to 16, 20, maybe 30 one day, we knew we couldn't keep it as a centralized model. We knew to really blow this league out, we're going to have to plant our flag in these cities around the country, even around the world. We're looking at London and Mexico City. But we felt like this is how we grow. And, right now we have 4 great owners. We're in the process of selling our other 4 teams. But we got owners in Los Angeles, Houston, Detroit, and Miami. So, this is the start of the league actually growing.
Well, Ice, I mean, let's just talk about, the growth of the league, right? And let's just use the NBA as a barometer, right? I mean, if you look at these incredible valuations that these teams are going for, I'm talking the NBA here. I mean, it's something like 12 times revenue, like crazy, 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 crazy numbers. And, I'm just curious, as an investor, if you're a team owner in the Big Three, are you thinking about that? I mean, do you find that your stakeholders and the team owners in the Big Three that, they're in it for the long haul, that they're in it about the growth of the league and the love of basketball, or are they in it like a lot of these private equity guys are to generate a profit? I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on that.
It's great. We got guys, I think, that are really both. They love the game. They saw that this was a great investment, and they saw that, their money could, double, triple, quadruple very quick. And so, it's smart all the way around, but we want people who can help us grow the league. So everybody's additive. We're not just grabbing, celebrity money or, any kind of family funds or things like that. We're really looking for people who want to win, want to run a pro sports team, and want to win the Dr. J Trophy, which is our championship trophy. And so that's what's going to make the league great. It's really going to be about who can put the best team together to win. And I think everything else will fall in place. We're still such a young league. If you can kind of project in 10 years or even 15 where we're going to be,
and forget about it.
And how much the value of our teams, it's going to be astronomical.
Well, Michael, do you remember just about 2, maybe 3 years ago when we had Ice on the air, and Ice was afraid to talk about this because he's afraid the NBA was going to come down and because they view him as a competitor. And now look at Big Three. I mean, how it stands on its own. CBS. I mean, are you kidding me, Ice? I mean, look at what you've done. Look at the sponsorships, your sponsors, your corporate sponsors. I mean, the growth of the league in such a short period of time, just 2-3 years it's really, I don't think I've seen anything like it.
It's amazing. Not since UFC has a league been able to really stick like the Big Three. And we are proud of our great sponsors. Monster Energy been there for a long time.
Yeah.
But now we got, Starter and M&M Mars.
P&G.
P&G. Coors, Capital One, Dude Wipes, you know what I mean? It's like a lot of cool stuff. And, we expect that to grow. We do have the best product in the summer. And, we hit those, fans who, after the NBA Finals, they really waiting for the NFL to start. So there's a lot of fans out there just waiting to be entertained, and we think we got it with the Big Three.
Are you reaching out more to some WNBA stars? And I was thinking about this because Caitlin Clark, right now she's with Indiana, but boy, if she came to the Big Three, she would clean up. I mean, right. The average WNBA salary is $150,000, not even $150,000 a year. I mean, she goes to the Big Three. I mean, forget about it, right? I mean, that's a good point, Michael Barr.
Coming out of college, we offered her a 2-year contract, $5 million a year. Plus a little equity here and there.
Hell, I'll play for you for that.
He doesn't want you, Michael Barr.
We knew it would unlock, we heard from our sponsors that it would unlock, millions of dollars if she did that. Kind of like a Billie Jean King moment. But, her agents kind of blocked us from speaking with her and her family. So we wasn't able to really bring that to light. But yeah, we did make the offer. If you go back and look, you'll see us make that real offer, because we knew how big it would be for the Big Three. And we thought she could have some success because of her style of play. she can shoot from far. She can, really run the game point guard wise. And we've had some small point guards have success in the Big Three. So we felt like, she actually really had a shot to be successful. It wasn't just a gimmick.
Well, the hard thing there is obviously she's competing in the WNBA at the same time. I know what you mean. It would have been, more profitable for her salary-wise to play in the Big Three.
We would have let her
but
do
what
both.
about what you're doing? Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, that's its own thing.
We was gonna let her play in the Big Three and keep her, WNBA contract. We was gonna, make it work. We only had one game that was a conflict. When we looked at the schedule. Well, it was last year actually. It was one game that was a conflict. We made the offer.
So do you think you'll look at other WNBA players, what about retired WNBA players who wouldn't have to make that decision to continue to play both at the same time? They're done, like how Dwight Howard's doing after his career?
I don't know, because, with her, it was a special situation. Like I said, our sponsors made it clear that getting her would unlock millions of dollars of sponsorships. So we don't know if it's going to be another player with that impact. That being said, our player captains get to pick who they want to play with. So we don't have general managers. The captain of the team picks his co-captains. So if we ever had a captain pick a WNBA player, she would be in the league.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Game on.
What have you learned when we first talked to you as you started the Big Three today as a business model wise attention that you have paid a lot of time and effort to make the Big Three work?
Oh, wow. It takes a great team, of course, of very, very talented, hardworking people who are relentless. But also, what I learned is, a lot of money people like to just meet. They bored, they got their money, and, why not have a meeting with Ice Cube, to tell him no. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that was surprising to me, but I understand, so we try to avoid that as much as possible. And, at the end of the day, it is what it is. And we want people who are passionate. And, if we get that, we feel like we're the perfect partners to work with, because we're, we don't have to be right. We just want to get it right.
Ice Cube, you are a friend of the show, and you are welcome anytime you want to come talk with us, man. We really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all later.
Special thank you to Ice Cube for joining us. Now, if you missed any of that conversation, be sure to check it out now on the Bloomberg Business of Sports podcast. Subscribe now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And that does it for this edition of the Bloomberg Business of Sports. For my colleagues Damian, Sassower, and Vanessa Perdomo, I'm Michael Barr. Tune in again next week for the latest on the stories moving big money in the world of sports. You are listening to the Bloomberg Business of Sports from Bloomberg Radio around the world.